You've told yourself that tomorrow you'll be ready, that when you know enough, have enough, feel confident enough, you'll begin. But here's the tricky part of all of that. Science shows us that readiness is not a state that occurs before an action. Readiness is a state that actually develops through action. Confidence develops through action. So that very thing that you're waiting for, the ironic thing about it is that the act of doing that thing is what will actually get you to the space where you feel ready. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why you freeze, the identity pattern underneath that, and a practice or an exercise that you can do to get yourself going, to get you in gear and in motion so that you can realize those goals that you have. If you're new here, I'm Sondra Kellogg. I work with high-achieving people who are successful on the outside, and yet there's still something within them that feels dissatisfied, feels unfulfilled. There's either running on fumes or they feel like they're not fully reaching the capacity that they have. So research now, even in neuroscience, talks about dopamine. It talks about how dopamine doesn't actually happen in the preparation stage. Dopamine happens when we are in motion. So that very surge of energy that we're looking for is happening when we're in action, when we're propelling ourselves forward. So those things that you're called to do, I want to lean now in a little bit into the energy of your purpose. Because I talk a lot about that soul energy. And what you're being called to do is literally there. It's your soul moving by desire. So now you have this battle going on between your brain and your inner calling, that self, that soul energy. And your mind is not your master. Your mind is your servant. If you are waiting until you feel ready, number one, we're already showing that that's never going to happen. And number two, you're dishonoring that inner calling that you have. Think about children. Children don't develop their self-esteem by being told that they're great. They build their self-esteem, they build their confidence by doing what feels just out of reach. My youngest daughter the other day wanted to make chocolate chip cookies, and we didn't have any eggs. And so I suggested, why don't you go over to the neighbor and ask if you can have an egg, borrow an egg. And she was really nervous. She's like, you could see her whole body recoil a bit. And she said, no, can you come with me? Or can you just text them and ask them? And in that moment, I could feel that was a great opportunity for her. So I just looked at her. I said, you can go do it. I believe that you can go get those eggs. And we talked a little bit about what the mind was doing and how it's not really that big a deal. What do you think they're going to bite your head off or something if they don't have eggs or they don't want to share them? So she kind of laughed and still went out there very hesitantly. Well, she came back and she was beaming. When I say beaming, I mean beaming. Because somewhere inside her, she knew she'd conquered something. She knew she'd gone out there and done something that felt uncomfortable. And she was able to go, wow, I did that. That wasn't that big a deal. So that's such a simple example, but that is what we do all the time. In anticipation, our mind anticipates all the things, all of the reasons why we shouldn't do it yet, all of the reasons why we might fail, all of the reasons why we might look bad, etc., etc. So that's why we freeze, because literally it is us stepping out of what we know. So when we step into the unknown, it is always going to feel uncomfortable. Now let's go a little bit into the identity. Why? Why do some of us have more of a challenge than others? So there are a lot of nuances to the different fears that we have around being successful. One of them is a fear that we will fail. One of them is a fear that what if we succeed and we can't handle that success? We can have that fear of rejection, right? People will think something of me. So there's a lot of different nuances, and they're all going to play out a little bit uniquely for each of you. However, what I will say is that identity-based concern is something to do with that self-worth, something to do with if I don't achieve this, if I don't accomplish that, then I am somehow less capable. And since a lot of us have built our identity around being very capable humans, that is in and of itself confronting. And so as you continue to move into those layers that are not comfortable, you're going to feel like you're butting up the edge of a precipice. Think about caterpillars that are transforming into butterflies. Anytime you are pushing through something that doesn't feel comfortable, you are that caterpillar about to break through the chrysalis. Those butterflies create strength by working through the struggle of getting out of that chrysalis. So look at it that way. All you're doing is you're pushing up against that, and you need to get yourself out of it. And the way that you do that is not by more preparation. So here's something you can do to shift that. There's a triad here. First things first, you need to have a sense for what it is that you want to accomplish. If you don't know what you want to accomplish, obviously it's very, very hard to take the next step, which is organizing yourself. And since you're watching this, you probably already have a sense for that because you've been trying to feel ready to do it. So just come back to that. Be true to that. Come back to really, truly, what is it that I want and why? Start there. Because one of the things the mind will do is even try to convince you why you didn't really need that or didn't really want that. Okay, so once you get back to that and you feel strongly about it, all I want you to do is go to organize now. What can you organize yourself to do right here, right now? One tiny little piece. And commit to yourself. Declare, I am going to do this. I am going to do this, and I'm going to do this when? When are you going to do it? Where are you going to do it? You already got the what and the why. So get those things organized. Again, your mind is not there to talk you out of it. It's not there for you to just think and think and think and think. The next step is act. So you've got a little bit of that organization, just enough to get yourself in motion, because that's what we're talking about. That's where that dopamine starts to creep in. Get yourself in motion and then do it. Act. So there's a little physical technique I love to show people, which is this. Feel, think, act. Feel, think, act. Feel, think, act. Feel, think, act. Okay, do that for yourself. Anytime you feel yourself in that mode of, oh, let me prepare a little more. Oh, let me organize a little more. Let me analyze and dissect this from another angle. I don't know, maybe I need to have this set up before I take this action. All those things are the crafty little mind trying to keep us safe. So feel, organize, act. Feel, organize, act. Don't let yourself get in a loop where you're just feel, think, which is a lot of that over preparation. Okay, so what are you going to do? Write it down right now. What do you have a sense for? What is it that you desire? I want you to pause this video, write that down. Write down the why, and then write down what is it that is that one teeny tiny step that I can take. Write down when you commit to doing it, where you commit to doing it, how you're going to start that. Okay, write that down. Then do this technique and visualize yourself doing that one tiny thing. And then go act on it and come back. Come back here and make a comment on what you did and why. So to sum it all up, just remember this. Real growth does not look like confidence, not in the beginning. Real growth, when we're pushing through that chrysalis, looks and feels uncomfortable. That's a sign you're on the right path. Eleanor Roosevelt said, you must do the thing you think you cannot do. Just think about that simple story with my daughter. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. You will not regret it. Whether it works or whether it doesn't, you're going to learn something. And if you can treat it as that, simply as a learning and growing experience, then you can give yourself the freedom to try and try and try again and try again. What did I learn from that? Okay, how do I adjust there? But just get started. That's the message for today, is just get started. You will never feel ready until you're in motion. You will never feel the confidence until you're actively engaged in the thing that you think you cannot do. All right, if this reached you today, share it with somebody else. There's somebody else out there that you may not even realize is doing the exact same thing. There's something that they desire that they feel uncomfortable going after and taking that first step. So share this with them. They need to hear it today. And let me know, what is the one thing that you're ready to get started on? If you want to go deeper with any of this work, feel free to reach out to me. You can book a strategy call. It's a free 30-minute call where we get to dive into what it is that you're seeking and how I can support you. There's no pressure whatsoever, but I'm happy to sit down with you.